Hello, my darlings. I'm Seren Briar, and welcome to BiteNotes, the recap show for the Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle ATL by night. Tonight, we look back at Season 3, Chapter 7, and the second and third vignettes. Now, let's sit back, relax, and recap a vampire story. Vignette 2. Hallowed be thy name. Alpha, played by special guest Trevor Garner, has received reports of late-night screaming at Peachtree Christian Church. The church's neighbors have claimed it's haunted, but Alpha knows better. Something's up, and he texts Cyrus to meet him there. Alpha arrives at the church with his big-ass black wolf Lenore and 10 feral dogs to guard the perimeter. Much more subtly, Cyrus obfuscates before he, Alpha, and Lenore enter the church through a side door. As they approach the main chapel, they hear voices. One, a light female voice, is preaching rhetoric that rings to Alpha as distinctly Sabbat. Cyrus finds a higher vantage point, and Alpha and Lenore burst through the priest's entrance. 12 kindred, in pairs of 2, dressed in robes and wearing rosaries, stand facing the pulpit. The woman preaching barely looks human, with blue-green skin, sharp fins along her limbs, and solid black eyes. Her robes and rosary are more ornate, and she holds a chalice stained with blood. Above them, a young man is suspended from cables, his blood dripping down onto a stage marked with a sigil. Alpha and Cyrus spring into action, attacking the Sabbat priests with claws and incendiary ammunition. Between the two of them, they manage to take out all 12 priests. The woman, Bishop Lydia Faraday, is almost as talkative as Alpha. In a weird, antagonistic way, they flirt.
Oh, the sheriff.
Guilty as charged.
What a cute little title. They finally let your kind in the Camarilla?
What, you mean men? Men have been in the Camarilla forever, and it's kind of a problem.
No, I mean gangrels.
Oh, this is like a racial thing. Yeah, I don't much care for that either.
No, you see, my kind and the gangrels. You and I have so much in common.
You mean we're both incredibly talented, attractive, and successful at everything we do?
Absolutely. This gentleman here, and she gestures to one of the dead ones. She goes, he was like you too. Ambitious, animalistic. I watched him take out an entire group of people with 25 pigeons. Your kind is strong.
No shit. It's what I have been trying to tell everybody.
And I understand it. I understand
Do
it
you?
Intimately.
How so? Now you got me all curious and a little bit hot and bothered, I'm not gonna lie.
Good, that's the aim. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have the joys and strengths of disciplines you can only call upon, but to have them forever?
No. Next question.
You like being sheriff, don't you? But you want
Not
more.
really.
You want more. I can tell.
Who doesn't?
Weak people don't want more.
On this we agree. What do you want?
Survival.
Only weak people aim for survival.
Bishop Lydia invites Alpha to join her, and Cyrus shoots her jaw off. In one swift motion, she sculpts herself a new one. Cyrus's incendiary ammunition has lit the room on fire, and Bishop Lydia disappears into the ground. As the blaze spreads, Alpha rescues the young man hanging from the ceiling, and Cyrus grabs one of the priests in torpor as a prisoner. They leave the scene before the authorities arrive, but knowing that the Sabbat is once again present in Atlanta. Vignette 3. Fruitful Works of Darkness. The infamous La Sombra Lucita de Aragon, played by special guest Cynthia Marie, has arrived in Atlanta following the call of an artifact. She contacts her old friend, Dorothy, the Nosferatu Primogen, better known now as Dot Matrix, for assistance in locating it. Cyrus finally retrieves his vintage Mustang from the Shepherd's New Haven. It's full of hidden compartments, all containing numerous weapons. When Lucita arrives at the Nosferatu Haven, Dot is waiting for her with Cyrus. He knows that the Athenium contains a few artifacts, and Dot sends him with Lucita, since the Athenium is not only a heavily warded Tremere haven, but also still crawling with Second Inquisition. 5 Second Inquisition officers are guarding the Athenium, but Cyrus and Lucita use Obfuscate to approach it unseen, and Lucita uses the shadows to get inside safely past Anton's wards. They investigate the basement and find a silver display case covered with a warded cloth. Inside the case is a silver baton and a number of blood-stained Sabbat rosaries, one larger than the rest. This is what has been calling to Lucita. She uses the shadows to retrieve the artifacts and examines the ornate rosary.
You slink into the shadows, and you're able to push through the oblivion just enough, and Cyrus, you see a hand come through the shadow and grip around the rosary and pull it into the shadow along with it. And then, Lucita, you come back out.
Useful.
And Lucita, looking at this rosary, it's even more ornate than it appeared initially in the case. On the back of it is inscribed, Antonio, keep the sword strong in Atlanta, Julius. And it is scorched and bloody. Antonio rings a bell. Antonio Delgado, the last known bishop of Atlanta, and Julius is likely Dr. Julius Sutphin, the first bishop of Atlanta.
Interesting. I was not expecting such insignia.
From the blood and charring on the rosaries, this looks to be the literal trophy case of someone who not only killed Sabbat, but hunted them. Before they leave, Cyrus looks around for anything he can deliver to Anton. Surrounded by books, supplies, and occult items, he decides to take the flamethrower. On their way out, Cyrus and Lucita dispose of all 5 Second Inquisition officers. Lucita feeds on one and is disturbed to find out that his blood tastes like La Sombra. Cyrus takes the officer's guns and magazines, the same as those he saw in the facility, before using the flamethrower to light the bodies on fire. Cyrus returns Lucita and one of the Second Inquisition rifles to Dot, and the 2 old friends discuss the state of the La Sombra in Atlanta. If Dot's plans to become prince come to fruition, she and Lucita can accomplish a lot together. Chapter 7. Murder Be Thy Name. Tonight, the shepherds meet with Dot Matrix, Nosferatu Primogen and candidate for Prince at the industrial club The Drunken Unicorn. Before they leave, Anton finds that Cyrus's Mustang is gone, and in its place is his flamethrower that was left in the Athenaeum. Pondering the implications of this, the coterie goes to their meeting. Dot's industrial goth aesthetic is definitely at home here, and there's a live band playing loud enough that they can all speak freely. Dot is in a room off of the main floor, with Doss and her 2 bodyguards, Linux and Tenkey. When the shepherds arrive, she sends her companions to the bar so she can speak with the coterie alone. Dot's platform and positions are surprisingly authoritarian. As much as she wants Alejandro dead, she thinks it would be most influential at first to make him one of the Harpies, and let him think he has some measure of influence while she uses him for intel on the Second Inquisition before getting rid of him. If by some miracle he fairly wins the election, Mooney has been instructed to make sure that doesn't happen. Dot plans to completely eradicate the Second Inquisition and enact complete dominion over all supernaturals in Atlanta, ignoring the agreement they already have with the Garu. The Nosferatu will be the head of her rule, with their access and control over information networks. Anton asks how Dot intends to have dominion over other creatures. That's where Melisande comes in. Dot offers her the position of Keeper of Elysium in her court. The Keeper would act as Dot's eyes and ears on the neutral ground, and report any desires or needs others might have, so that Dot, as Prince, can offer them boons to achieve her own goals. The current Keeper is Denise, but that position, combined with her Primogen duties, is stretching her too thin. Dot seems very committed to ensuring that the lower clans are taken care of, and plans to entirely overhaul the Renashri Camarilla. According to her, the document was written so early in the morning that it's full of oversights and loopholes. Surprisingly, Mel agrees with her. She thinks Dot's rule sounds ideal.
And what do you think about ratifying the Renashri Camarilla as it is, to include any amendments being democratically voted upon?
I agree to it. I have a feeling whoever Talbot wrote that thing at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It is definitely full of holes.
Had poor Olivia half ready to go to bed, scribbling, but of course it's Olivia, so it was calligraphy to shit and back.
Yes.
And then every amendment was some near fucking daybreak meeting. I imagine a new prince is going to have to just about rewrite the whole thing top to bottom, while keeping the same things we've agreed upon.
Would you be willing to listen to other kindred that are not on the court as to their thoughts on that?
Of course.
The Nosferatu have always been especially gifted when it came to listening.
Always.
Anton wonders how he can trust Dot to respect the Renashri Camarilla if she's not even prince yet and is already willing to rig an election, rewrite their constitution, and break a peace treaty. Dot comes down hard, blaming everything on Talbot Rourke's previous rule. The Primogen have already been running everything for years, and she's already needed to bend some rules to take care of her own. If she hadn't, Hexadecimal would be dead in a flipped-over car on the side of the road. Hex is quiet throughout the meeting, occasionally nudging Anton to shut up when he pushes Dot for answers and clarifications. She trusts Dot to enact what change is necessary for everyone to be kept safe. Eren appreciates Dot's decisiveness, but her controlling plans are more traditionally Camarilla than he's comfortable with. Dot admires the humanity in him, but doesn't need his vote or his support. She does, however, think Eren should get closer to Alejandro. If he drinks from Alejandro directly, his blood may help Eren's new Oblivion powers stabilize, and he can use Alejandro being his stepsire to gain intel. Thomasina, as usual, is pragmatic. She sees the benefits of Dot's proposals and admonishes her own clan for hoarding resources. According to Dot, Clarice was a dummy nomination for the Ventru. Tabitha is dealing with the shame of a Ventru prince bringing all this trouble on their heads in the first place, so Clarice stepped up with no intention to win or even campaign. She's nothing more than Georgina's girlfriend, and a placeholder as the Ventru nominee. As for the rest of the court, Dot does plan to give Alima a position, and to keep Cyrus as Scourge. She will add Georgina as an additional Scourge to make up for Cyrus's total lack of social graces, and retain Alpha as Sheriff. When their meeting is over, Hex stays at the club, eager for a night out, while Eren and Thomasina go to the Gangrel compound, and Anton visits Proctor on her farm. Mel returns home alone for a comfy night in. Anton asks Proctor for guidance on who to vote for, and they actually have a civil conversation for once. Proctor can't tell him who to vote for, but she can tell him who she wouldn't. Definitely not Alejandro, and not Elijah. Even though Elijah's done a lot for the city, a thin-blood prince would turn Atlanta into too much of a target for the global Camarilla. Before Anton leaves, Proctor gives him his own set of keys to the Chantry. She's taking her job as Primogen more seriously now. On the way home, Anton texts Alpha to ask about his platform, but Alpha just tells him to vote with his heart, or whatever's left of it. At the Gangrel compound, Eren talks to Denise about his own vote. Denise plans on voting for Alpha. He's been acting as prince since Talbot was indisposed, and he's essentially been a second Primogen to the Gangrel for years. She hates the idea of Eren drinking from Alejandro to stabilize his powers, but admits that it is probably the best course of action. Uncontrolled oblivion is unfathomably dangerous. In the kitchen, Thomasina talks to Alpha. He doesn't really care if she hates him, and she thinks that if he's going to be prince, he should work on his communication skills. Eren informs Alpha that he's planning to vote for Melisande, and Alpha's unsurprisingly ambivalent about that. Eren is starting to feel like he'll need to get out of the city for a bit after the election, and Alpha promises to arrange that for him. Once alone in the kitchen, Eren checks Alejandro's notebook, which apparently contains Oblivion Clippy.
I've been rummaging through the notebook.
And the notebook has the same prompts: send a message, take a picture, learn Oblivion.
Take a picture.
Okay. And so, as you click take a picture, looking down at the book, you see the entire page cover in shadow, and then the shadow sinks into the page and shows an exact visage of how you look right now, looking down at the book.
Selfies are just
Double
as bad.
chins and all.
a bit of a front camera mode issue.
I'm gonna look around a little bit and hold it a little higher.
Get your angles.
Yeah.
And same happens. Shadow covers the whole page and then reliefs into the page to show you a black and white version of yourself.
Has it changed any?
No, you'll still look like you.
He uses the Learn Oblivion prompt, and words begin to appear on the page, tailored instructions to Eren on how to control his shadow's movement. It works, for now. On the way home from Proctor's farm, Anton has his Uber drive slowly past the Athenaeum. It's still crawling with Second Inquisition, and Anton remains incredibly confused on how and why Cyrus managed to get in and retrieve his flamethrower. Thank you for tuning in to BiteNotes. Remember, liking, commenting, and subscribing does not violate the Masquerade. You can view full episodes of ATL by Night on our YouTube channel. We stream Tuesdays at twitch.tv/ATL by Night. Remember to support us on Patreon and follow us on Twitter. Until next time, good night.